Hi everyone, and welcome to episode 51 of Not the Worsted Knitting Podcast. My name is Michelle, and I am the knitter and knitwear designer behind meeshyfrazz Knits. Today we are back to a normal episode. I can't believe we are already past the 50th episode. We've also hit the 1 year mark. I think actually a couple weeks ago we hit the 1 year mark. So if you have been with me since the beginning, thank you so much. It's just crazy. This year has really flown by. When I first started doing these videos, it was just sort of like, I kind of want to reach out. I kind of want to be part of this community. I love this so much. I just want to chat with everybody I can about it, but we'll see if I enjoy it. We'll see if this is something I stick with or want to do on a regular basis. And I don't know, I've just really loved doing this. It's so fun to feel like I've expanded my network of friends just by reaching out in this way. Just by having this platform, I've met so many of you who've reached out to me. So it's just really, really cool. So thank you for being a part of this journey. We're a little past the 1 year mark and just going strong. So yeah, today's just a normal podcast episode. In today's video, I am wearing I think it's called the Confetti Crop top. And this is a top by Knitatude. I am wearing it with my linen pants, which I just love. But this is a very, very simple top-down yoke tee, and it's just got a little bit of a lace panel here. It's a very simple cast on. You just do like a garter, I think it's like a garter edge. It's nothing fancy. And yeah, then you just do a very basic bit of lace. You separate your sleeves, and then you just do the body. I did it pretty much according to pattern, which is very cropped. Not something I would normally crop this much, except that it is meant to have like 9 inches of positive ease, which I followed. I knit the size small in this, so you can see there's a lot of extra room here. But I really do like the way this looks, especially with a loose pant like this. I love these linen pants. I will link the linen pants just in case, because I know I talked about these in a previous video. I absolutely love these pants, and they are so perfect for summer. They're so comfy, and I really love them with this top because it's cropped enough to where even though everything is baggy, these cinch in, so I feel like you still get a defining waist here. So really happy with it. That is what I'm wearing. The yarn that I used is Meeker Street. So that is a yarn that is made from a local yarn store here called the Nifty Knitter, and that's out in Issaquah, Washington. So it's Meeker Street, it's a fingering weight, and I think the color is a little petty, and it's just got these little flecks, like these little confetti flecks, which I thought was kind of perfect for a top that is called the confetti top. I really do enjoy this top. Even though it's 100% merino, because it's a short cropped top and it's lace, I never feel too hot in it. So this is a really nice one that I bring out in the summer, and I just wear high-waisted pants, high-waisted skirts, and I feel really good in it. So in today's episode, we have several works in progress, nothing finished. I was actually hoping that I was going to have a finished object for you guys, but I lost yarn chicken. The yarn gods did not favor me on that day, so I lost, like, not even close, honestly. It's actually quite funny. So I will just go ahead and show you guys my epic failure of yarn chicken with my pizza socks that are so close to being done. So I finished my first one. This is just a 64 stitch sock. This is a chart that I came up with. I don't know if I'm going to do a pattern or not, just because the charts are quite, I have to, based on the size of the pizza slices, I found the best way to do it was to have one chart that you repeat front and back. So it's like the halfway point. So it looks great from the front, looks great from the back. From the side, you do have it to where the pizza slices kind of line up instead of alternating. And that's just for my size. And for Thomas's size, it was able to alternate all the way through, just because I charted these just originally for him without a pattern in mind. So I don't know, I'll think about whether or not I want to make this into a pattern. If I do, I might give options for the chart or just adjust it to where this isn't an issue. But just for doing personal socks for me, I didn't mind this, where it was just a front and back chart. So the yarn I am using is Sandnes Garn Sisu, and I love it. It's a really, really great sock yarn. It's 80% wool, 20% nylon, and it's really just a really nice sock yarn. It's really sturdy, it feels really good. So they each come in 50-gram balls. And so the main color is deep petrol. The cheese color is honey. The red is Roomba red, and then the crust and the breadsticks is actually Knit Pick Stroll in the color cork. So this, oh, it's so cute. I love it so much. So it's basically just got the little chart on the leg, and then I did a 3x1 broken rib on the foot just to cinch the foot in a little bit since you're not doing color work throughout. And so in my mind, I thought that 50 grams would be enough for me to do 2 socks. I really thought, because I was doing color work, I didn't think it was going to be an issue. And I will say I did have a little bit of hesitation when I weighed the remaining yarn after I did the first sock, because each ball is actually around like 52 grams when you weigh it. And when I weighed the ball after I did this sock, it was telling me I had 24 grams. So like, I knew I wasn't going to have enough, but there was still a part of me that was like, maybe it'll work. Like maybe I used a lot of extra yarn when I did my ends on this one, and I'll just be way more conservative on this one. No. I ran out here. I think I still have 6 rounds to go before I even get to the toe portion, which means that I still have 6 rounds of the main color. Then I have the little bit of this fun color work portion here, and then I still have to do the full toe. I immediately went on to Wool & Co. and I ordered another ball because I can't get this yarn anywhere else. As far as I know, I don't think this yarn is sold anywhere near me, so I have to order it online. Fortunately, Wool & Co. had it in stock still. I am curious to see if the dye lots match. I'm not entirely sure. It's just a sock for me. It's not a huge deal if they're a little bit off. There was nothing I could substitute this with here, so I had to order it. So according to the last shipment I checked, it actually supposedly is supposed to be arriving today. I'm not sure if that's true. I ordered it on Sunday, so we'll see. Maybe by next week these will be done. Well, you know, this will be done. But for now, it is on hold. I'm really hoping, I really wanted to get this done so that this upcoming weekend, Thomas and I could do our matching sock thing, because he's dying to wear his pizza socks again, but you know, we're on the matching sock weekend trend. So I had to get these done. But I will say these really flew. Like, this knit up so quickly. It's funny because I talked about this last week, but when I knit up his version, I was catching floats a ton, and it made the pizza portion an absolute pain. Honestly, it was such a pain to work up. I was not looking forward to it, but I didn't do that with this. I only caught floats that were extremely long, and it sped up the process so much. And I'm sure it also helps that with this one I was knitting 64 stitches versus his 80 stitches, so it's a lot less stitches. But I really think the big thing here was just not catching my floats as often. And it feels great. Like, the fabric is quite stretchy, it's not super stiff. I also, you know, I have to be a little cognizant of putting my toes in, but largely it's fine. So yeah, like you can see, it's really not too bad. So these are just about done, almost a finished object. It's really like, it's a half FO if you think about it. And I am really, really hoping that next week these will be finished. Okay, next up on my list is the Misty Pines Sweater. So I've been talking about this for the last couple of weeks, and you may remember that I was really struggling with gauge on this yarn. So I am working with Blue Sky Fibers Woolstok worsted, and I've knit with this a bunch, and I just found that every time I've knit with it, with different batches that is, I'm getting different gauge. So I found it really interesting. It's not entirely surprising, just because different batches might be spun a little bit differently. Not just that, but also the dye process. This is Highland Fleece, that's the color, which I think is an undyed color, which would also explain why this is knitting up at a different gauge than when I have worked with all of their colored yarn that has been dyed. So that definitely plays a part, I'm sure. But yeah, so I finally, after I did several gauge swatches that were essentially just the back panel, and finally I got to a gauge that I really liked, which was with the US 7 needles, which is a 4.5 millimeter, I believe. And that was just a fabric I thought looked really good. So I decided to go with that gauge, but I needed to rework my grading sheet again based off of that gauge because I was expecting something a little bit larger. So I've been reworking that grading sheet a bunch, just trying to adjust things. It is a drop shoulder. Let's see if you can. So this is kind of the construction of it in the back. That might actually be more helpful. I can show you, this is the back construction. It's a pretty standard drop shoulder construction. So you cast on the entire width of the back, and then you will actually slip the left and right sides while you start from the back neck. And from there, you actually do short row shaping to build out the shoulders. And that's kind of how you build out the back panel. And then from there, you will pick up stitches on both shoulder to do the left and right front panels. You do a little bit of shaping for the collar, and then you will eventually cast on some stitches for the front of the collar, and that is how you build out your neckline. Not too much different from what you would expect from a very standard drop shoulder. I wanted a very clean drop shoulder in the back where you have a line that you really don't notice. I didn't want like a decorative line on this because this is going to be color work. But with that in mind, there are some shaping things that I really wanted to do with this, kind of with what I learned from doing my Fidalgo cardigan, especially with chatting with my tech editor. She gave me so much really interesting advice on ways to modify a cardigan, or really modify a drop shoulder, so that you can get a really good shaping line where everybody kind of has their drop around the same area, give or take about an inch, because there are some adjustments that need to be made for the extreme sizes from smallest to largest. Sorry, I have fuzzies all over my mouth. I don't know what it's from. So with that in mind, what that means is you're doing some shaping under the arm. For the smallest sizes, you actually decrease under the arm because you need more stitches up here than what you actually need for your body just to give you that cap. And then for the larger sizes, you will be increasing here because you have less stitches here than what you need for the body. So it sort of ends up working kind of like a set-in sleeve. Also, if you're comfortable doing raglans, then this is something very similar to that in terms of the shaping just under the arm. And with this one, I'm actually going to be doing quite a bit of shaping under the arm, not for all sizes. The middle sizes just have a little bit of shaping. Obviously, the smallest and largest sizes will have more shaping. And my hope with that is that it's going to give a really, really good fit for everybody. Being that it's almost more like a set-in sleeve with a shoulder cap. And so I'm really curious to see how this works up. Obviously, I am knitting my size right now. The big test too will be when I send the numbers to my tech editor, just to kind of like have her eyes on it and make sure she agrees with how the fit is throughout. I mean, what I do when I'm coming up with these numbers is I look at kind of the recommended size for the size range that I'm doing. I will use Isolde's numbers. I will use a few other numbers to kind of fill in the gaps, because not one place tends to have all the numbers I need, especially because like Isolde's are kind of limited. I think her numbers stop right at 60 inches for like finish measurements, and I think they start at like 32. So if I want to do any extras outside of that, either I'm kind of guesstimating or I'm using other references. Okay, so I actually ran upstairs to my office to get this book because I'm talking about my resources and I thought this would be helpful. So I use Isolde for my main numbers, but she doesn't go to the extremes. And so there's a few sizes that aren't included, and I would really prefer not to guesstimate the sizes. I mean, you can look at the range based on each size and the increments that it goes up with the other numbers to have an idea of how much it might go up. But that's making a lot of assumptions that I don't want to make, because those sizes, everything else might be the same, and it might just be a couple of differences just based on bust circumference or body chest circumference. So I also have this book, which I've been using a lot more. I've talked about this in my knitting books video, and this is one that I find really valuable for a larger amount of sizes. This is the Knitting Pattern Writing Handbook, and it's written by Kristina McGrath and Sarah Walworth. Sarah is my tech editor. She is lovely and amazing and super knowledgeable on all of these things, on fit, grading. So I got this book a while back, and there's a lot of really great tips in it. But one of my favorite things in here, and I'm not gonna go too far in because I don't wanna give anything away, but in here is a larger chart for grading sizes, and it goes from body measurements in inches from 28 inches all the way up to 66 inches. And yeah, then it also has it in centimeters, of course. It's got it for adult men, and then I think it also has kid sizes as well. So it's got pretty much everything you could need in terms of a larger range of sizes. And when I compare it to Isolde's numbers for the core sizes, they're pretty similar. So I've been starting to use this quite a bit more for my sizing references as well. So I definitely recommend this book. This is a great book, and it's so helpful when you're first writing patterns, or really like if you've written a bunch, it's still helpful to look through this. This is a great reference. So highly recommend. Anyway, so back to my Misty Pines. So now that we've kind of got that all figured out, I'm feeling pretty good about the numbers, and so we are starting to take shape on the sweater. It's so funny though, like I was talking about with my gauge. Initially, I really thought I was going to have a much larger gauge. That ended up not being the case. I reworked everything, so it's feeling really good with the new numbers I have in place. Everything feels solid, the sizing is great. And I haven't blocked this yet, but I was just measuring the back of it because before I joined the front yoke, I was looking at the back and I'm like, this feels kind of small. Just based on what I was thinking in my mind, the back wasn't quite as wide as I was expecting. Now, granted, it's all stockinette, so there's a bunch that is curled. So there's always a little bit of room for error there. But I did take a measurement just because I was curious. Now, again, this is not blocked yet, but so the blocked gauge that I am going for, based on the gauge swatch that I did a week ago, knit the same exact way because I literally knit the back panel, I am looking for 18.5 stitches per 4 inches. Right now, unblocked, this is 20 stitches per 4 inches, and so I'm a little nervous. I haven't knit a ton, so if I need to redo it again, I will redo it again. But honestly, right after this video is done, this is going in the sink, and I am going to properly block this. I actually did do a light steam block on the back when I wanted to join these just for a cleaner look, just so I could kind of see how it looked all around. But it hasn't had a proper wet block, and I am fully team wet block. Like I always want to do the full blocking, totally soak it, let it sit for a little bit, and give it a chance to just really open up. So I'm hoping that when I do that and everything lays flat, that it'll feel like it's more in line with what I'm going for, because I'm looking for about 6 to 8 inches of positive ease with this guy. So if I put this on right now, which is going to be next to impossible for you to see because I'm wearing white on white, so that was really good planning on my part. Let's see here. It's actually, so it's feeling okay. You can see it's curling up, but I am, okay. Yeah, I think it might be okay. I think we might be okay. But I do want to see, I want to make sure that this is actually going to measure the way I want it to once it's blocked. I need to make sure that my gauge didn't tighten up again. So I do need to block this kind of right away. But I think it's feeling okay. This is always something that's hard to tell with drop shoulders, especially because you're just knitting all of the stockinette. So it all rolls in, and so it always feels really narrow, and you look at it and you're like, this is not gonna work. And then when you pick up the stitches and you add the weight to it, you tend to get that width that you were kind of going for. So really hoping that's going to happen here. But that is why you block. Block often, block always. Just when in doubt, block it out. I really, really believe that blocking is your friend. Yes, that means I won't be able to work on this for a day or two, but better to figure that out now than to finish the project, block it, and realize it's too small. Especially when I am designing a pattern around this, because I'm basing all of this off of the gauge that I got with my previous swatch. And that is making the assumption that this is going to knit up at that gauge to a very specific size. And if my gauge is tighter, that means the sweater is going to be tighter as well. So we're gonna see. I'm happy with the shape though. I'm happy with my numbers so far. It's all looking really, really good. I'm really looking forward to being able to start the color work. Of course, the color work isn't gonna start until probably around here. So I've got a ways to go, especially, you know, post-blocking and making sure the size is good, but I'm so looking forward to working on this. I just love the construction of top-down drop shoulder sweaters. I don't know, there's something that's really satisfying about it. It's because it's like sort of pieced, and then you pick up stitches here and there, and all of a sudden, bam, you have the shape, and it's really satisfying. There's just something I just so enjoy about that. It's like a little puzzle that fits together, and when it all fits just right, it feels so satisfying. So this is my progress on Misty Pines. We will see how it all works out post-blocking. It should block to the same measurements unless something crazy happened and I was knitting this and super tense in comparison to the gauge swatch. This really should block to the same measurements because I just did that gauge swatch like a week ago. But this is the thing with gauge swatches. I will never not defend swatching. I always think you should swatch. But even then, you should always be prepared for things to be slightly off because your gauge changes based on your mood, based on the type of needles, based on the weather even, like if it's humid out, especially if it's humid and you are working with wooden needles. All of these factors can play into it. If you're tired, the yarn, if you have it dyed in different colors, but it's the same base, I don't know. There's so many things that can affect it. So I'm really curious to see how this blocks out. But I think when I hold it out and I'm actually pulling by the width, I feel like this is about where I want it to be. So fingers crossed, this blocks out well. Wish me luck. But that is what's going on here. So more to come with Misty Pines in the upcoming weeks. Next up on my work in progress list is my Brunch Crew long sleeve. So I promise you I have made progress on it. I know it doesn't look like much, but I have made progress on it. I am almost done with the body. So I am on I think I have 3 rounds left on the chart, and then I'm just doing ribbing. And for this one, I'm not doing a ton of ribbing. It's just gonna be a little bit of ribbing on the bottom. So it should be done pretty quickly. It's just that I have been really distracted with all of these other things that have come up, but especially now that I'm going to need to block my Misty Pines and let that sit for a day or two, I will probably get some more done on this tonight and tomorrow. I'm also looking forward to this. It's nice though, because I'm not in a rush to get it done because this is a very fuzzy woolly sweater that I'm working on in June. So there's no hurry. And of course, like I said, once I finish this, I will definitely update the pattern with the long sleeve numbers, but we've got some time for that, so no rush there. But I'm really happy with how this is coming along. If you are just joining, the yarn that I used for this Brunch Crew is, it's all from Fyberspates. So the main color, if you will, is Fyberspates Vivacious 4-ply in the color Peacock. And then the yarn I am holding it with is also Fyberspates. This is Cumulus, and this is in the color Sugar Violets. And together, these two colors make this gorgeous, gorgeous blue sweater. I really love the color that this has made. So you can see here, this is the Brunch Crew tee in comparison. The reason I wanted to do a fuzzy yarn was also so that the lace would be a little bit more subtle. It'll still be there, but it's a lot more subtle. Like you can see my hand is through there, but I don't feel like it's quite as obvious as that. Now, granted, this also hasn't been blocked, so the lace will probably open up a little bit with blocking, but it still shouldn't be anything like as open as that. So that'll make this feel a lot more wintry, a lot more cold weather, because it's just gonna keep you super, super warm. So really looking forward to finishing this guy for the colder months. Especially since I actually just booked my tickets for Sacred Sheep. That is an event that happens in Portland, Oregon in November. I had to think about that. I've been wanting to go for the last couple of years, and there's just always been something that's happened that has gotten in the way to where I couldn't go. This year I am going and I'm super excited. So I'm going with my friend and we're gonna stay for the weekend, and just really looking forward to that. So let me know if you're going to Sacred Sheep as well. I know we've got a few months, it's not coming up anytime soon, but I'm already just really excited about it. So I'd love to meet some more people while I am down there. I've heard that it's a much more chill event. Like Flock is a huge event in Seattle and it's amazing, and there's stores everywhere, or like little shops everywhere within the venue. Based on what I've seen from Sacred Sheep, it looks smaller scale and there's like a bigger focus on knitting with your friends outside in the covered tent area and trying out different yarns, and just kind of, it feels maybe more social, whereas Flock feels a little bit more shop focused. So I'm really interested to see the differences between the two events. I'm actually really hoping that they're going to feel like two different events, because I don't know that I'd want to go to two that felt exactly the same, especially because I am buying tickets. You know, I want them to feel like their own special event. So I am really looking forward to going to that. Let me know if you will be at Flock or Sacred Sheep, as I am planning to go to both. Just thinking already about all the things I want to wear. The other thing I'm really excited about with Sacred Sheep is that, so Flock, you know, if you've watched me, I love Flock. I'm excited for Flock. I look forward to Flock. But it's in the summer, and there's something about a wool event in the summer that makes me a little less excited. I'm still really excited to go, and that's why I've put a bigger emphasis on making sure I've got summer tees that I can wear that are knitted. But you know, summer tees can still be kind of warm, and so it's a little tricky, and it's especially tricky if you're hot and you're going to try out all of this wool. And it's, I don't know about you, but when I'm really hot, the last thing I want to do is feel woolly wools, you know? So that's always a little bit tricky. Whereas Sacred Sheep, it's in November in Portland, so I'm really expecting that it'll be a nice crisp fall afternoon. And I don't know, that just makes me really even more excited, because that's the weather I really want when I'm going to a fiber event. So it has me thinking about all the sweaters I want to wear, and do I want to wear any of the sweaters that I already have, or do I just want to have new sweaters that are just for this event? Like honestly, right now what I'm thinking is I will probably be wearing this, the Brunch Crew, and my Misty Pines sweater, just because the Misty Pines sweater definitely feels like fall. I feel like that's going to feel like a proper fall sweater. So that's sort of what I have on my radar for that. Let me know what, if you're going to those events, what you have planned. If you're already thinking about what projects you want to be working on to wear there, if you have ideas in mind about what projects you want to bring there. If you've been before, let me know if you have any tips. But yeah, as you can tell, I am super excited for both of those. So that, back to my my actual knitting, because I'm getting clearly very sidetracked. That is progress on my Brunch Crew, and that is basically all I'm working on now. So I feel like we're getting really close with a couple of these. Like my pizza socks, they are almost done. My Brunch Crew, it's getting really close. Misty Pines, that one's gonna take a bit, but that's to be expected. That's kind of, you know, that's meant to be kind of my brain project in between all of these projects that don't require any thinking at all. So feeling pretty good about the pace that I'm working on, and then I can probably bring in some of my other works in progress that I chatted about last week that maybe need a little bit more love and a little bit more time on my needles. So all I've got left to talk about is book chat. I haven't talked about books in a couple of weeks with you guys. So I have finished the last book I was reading, which was Daughter of Mine, and that is by Miranda. And I really enjoyed that book. So it's a mystery novel, and basically the main character, she is the daughter of a detective in a small town who was loved and well known. It's a small town, so everybody knows everybody, but everybody really respected and loved this detective. She's coming back into town because he's passed away, and she's helping to kind of pick up the pieces from what he left behind. She's there with her brothers, kind of sorting all of that out. During that, there are some things that are uncovered outside of his house and what's going on with them, but in the town, that has opened up some potential murder investigations. And so it's got them kind of questioning what's going on. Did their dad know about it? Because some of it has to do with her mother's disappearance, that she thought her mom left, but now there's questions that maybe she didn't actually leave intentionally, and just trying to figure out what's going on there and who could be involved. And that turned out to be a pretty fun read. I will say, I do feel like there were a couple of red herrings thrown in that didn't get resolved, and it did feel like they were thrown in to be red herrings, but I still would have liked that information to have been resolved, so you're not just kind of like, well, what was the point of sharing that? But other than that, it was very small things too. It adds to kind of the creepiness of the whole vibe, so it's fun while you're reading it, but finishing it, I'm like, wait, they never really answered the question with that. So that's like the one nitpick I would say, but other than that, I still felt like it was a really enjoyable read. It was a quick read, and I would recommend it, especially for a good summer vacation book, especially if you like mystery novels. Next up, I'm so excited. I am finally going to be starting Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins. So this is a book I actually bought a couple of months ago, I think, and I had full intention on reading it soon. There were a couple of books I wanted to get through first, and then it's just so happened that my Libby queue, apparently I had just like signed up for a ton of books on Libby, and they have all just kind of come one right after the other, and so I kind of wanted to get through my queue before I got to this, and so I've finally gotten through my queue, and now it is finally time to read Sunrise on the Reaping. I'm really looking forward to reading this. I've heard great things. It's also really good because I did not enjoy A Ballad of Songbird and Snakes, and from what I have heard, most people who have enjoyed Sunrise on the Reaping agree that Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes was also not great. So with that in mind, I'm feeling really optimistic about this book. And so I think this is a decently large book, so hoping it'll take me a few weeks to get through, and maybe I'll have some progress that I can chat about next week. Other than that, that's pretty much it. Just excited for all the things going on. I've got my summer tea on. It's finally like a proper summer day. Now, I say it's a proper summer day, but the high today is 65 degrees. But I love it. It's great. This is my kind of summer weather. Honestly, you can keep the heat. 65 max for me is great. When it goes into like 75 and 80 degrees, I'm basically wilting. I can't handle it. So I love this weather so much, and so it feels like it's properly summer. I'm literally watching a dragonfly fly through the yard right now, and it's just super cute. So I hope you are enjoying your weather wherever you are. I'm hoping that you have something fun to knit on and maybe something fun to read. So definitely let me know if you are going to be at Sacred Sheep, if you've got any tips for me, if you've been before. If there's any places I definitely need to check out around the area. It's been a couple of years since I've been to Portland, so I'm really excited to go back. I love Portland. Every time I'm there, I think to myself, I need to come here more often. So I'm really looking forward to being there in the fall. It should be so much fun. Also something I'm thinking about. So if you are in the Washington area, let me know if you are interested in any sort of meetups. There was something, granted this was over, I think, the winter. I saw a lot in Minnesota. They've been doing a lot of these events like knitting at a movie theater. And so I have a very small theater in mind. I haven't reached out to them yet just because I'm kind of trying to see what people's interest level is. I would love to have some sort of a thing where everybody, and it's not just knitters, it can be any sort of fiber enthusiast. It has to be something that you can bring to a theater and comfortably work on. So knitting, crochet, sewing, spinning, stuff like that, I feel like is probably the way to go. Embroidery, any of those things that you can bring with you. But I was thinking that it might be really fun to have some sort of event where we can go to a theater, rent out the theater, watch some kind of fun movie. I don't really know what the movie would be yet. Basically with the lights on. That's what I've noticed, is that people have been able to watch movies with the lights mostly on so you can see what you're working on. It's like a very casual event. And then also with potentially like goodie bags. I don't know. So I'd love to kind of gauge people's interest on this, just because I'm curious about how many people would want to do something like this versus more of a meetup where we're just meeting at, you know, a bar or a restaurant or something where we've got a whole section of tables where we can chat the whole time. Those are the two things I'm kind of debating. Of course, with working in a theater in this area, I wonder if that actually would be better suited for fall and winter, just because, you know, playing off of the weather and wanting to be more cozy. But yeah, something I'm thinking about, something I would love to do. I know we talk a lot about how great this community is and how many friends that we've met in this space online via YouTube and Instagram, but I would love to be able to meet more people in person and just kind of be able to talk to you guys face to face, because every time I do get to meet somebody, it's so great and I never feel like there's enough time to actually dive deep. So if this is something that you are interested in on either way, let me know. And also, because I'm thinking about doing a goodie bag, if you have any sort of small business within the fiber arts community or something that could be related in any way, let me know. Like if you are a designer, if you make stitch markers or notions, if you are a yarn dyer, if you own a shop, anything like that. I mean, you know, if you make lotions, like whatever it might be, if it's related to this in any way that could be fun to be part of a goodie bag and or sponsorship, let me know, just because I think that would be really, really cool. Just a way for us to all meet each other and support each other, learn about other small businesses, and just have that really nice community feel. Just to kind of expand something that we already love so much. So definitely let me know if you are interested. Feel free to leave a comment. You can reach out to me. You can find me on Instagram. I am meeshyfrazz on Instagram, Ravelry, and Blue Sky. You can email me at meeshyfrazz@gmail.com, and you can find me on my website, which is meeshyfrazzknits.com. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.